There's Stephon Diggs cleats from Sunday's regular season finale, the Betty White tribute. Also said thank you for being a friend on the other side. Great stuff from Stephon Diggs. All right, Sunday statement draft for Week 18. Mike, you're up.
That was cool, by the way. I thought that was fantastic. Betty White on the shoes. My first one's going to go. Last game is always incentive game. Do you hit your incentives? Rob Gronkowski needed X amount of catches, X amount of yards, $500,000 for each for $1 million. He got them both. 7 catches for 137 yards. Not that the guy needs the extra money. I get it. But just to let everybody know, it is incentive day in the NFL, whether it's for sacks. We had one guy needed 1 sack. His wife told him, don't come home unless you get the sack. He got it for $250,000. I don't think she was serious. But I loved what Tom Brady said. I wasn't coming off the field until Gronkowski got his bonus of $1 million, and he got it.
No extra money for Dak Prescott. He doesn't need it. He's getting $40 million per year on his current 4-year deal with the Cowboys. But how about 5 touchdown passes for Dak in a game that I feel like it was just, the Cowboys, even though the Eagles weren't all in, they had a bunch of players inactive, but the Cowboys, who had been sputtering offensively for weeks, they needed to go into the postseason on that high note with a little bit of that vibe that they can make it happen when they need to. And as we said earlier, they're going to have their hands full against the 49ers this weekend. So Dak ready to roll, 100% by all appearances, and we'll see if they can put a strong offense together in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we've got to see if they can get that running game going again. They need that so badly. My next one is going to be Jacksonville, the entire team. Again, you have 2 wins. You're playing for nothing. If you play long enough, you end up in this position. Sometimes you're playing for a lot. Sometimes you're playing for 0. But I'll go again to what Jack Griffin said. It says one last chance to get on tape, and that's your resume. For whatever new coaches may be here, players, whatever, this is a chance for you to show. And for them to step up with just a couple of wins and put it to the Colts, again, more embarrassing for the Colts, but that just impresses me. The U-Hauls weren't hooked up to the cars. As Joe Judge says, the golf clubs weren't in front of the lockers. These guys went out and did a job. They played incredibly well. And I'm sure for their fans, maybe hey, maybe we got something going in the future. We'll see. But for this game, it was very impressive at the last game of the season.
Yeah, too many of those fans still focused on Trent Baalke returning as the GM. They should be focused on at least a little bit Trevor Lawrence looking pretty good yesterday and maybe giving them a glimpse of things to come. I feel like I find a way to mention this guy every week, but I'm fascinated by the story of Rashad Penny, who was a first-round pick by the Seahawks 4 years ago, a guy they had a lot of faith in, a lot of hope. Injuries. It seems like every Seahawks running back suffers through injuries, but Rashad Penny has been incredible as he closes out his rookie deal because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. He heads into free agency now, Mike, with 23 carries, 190 yards, and a touchdown. And who knows what happens. And I know they don't pay running backs, and I know that the only way to get big money is from the team that you've become a superstar with. Penny hasn't become a superstar over an extended period of time, but the Seahawks have a tough decision to make now about whether or not to keep him. And if he hits the open market, his latest film is pretty damn good week after week after week. And it's just been a great story to see him explode. But almost 200 yards yesterday as the Seahawks send the Cardinals to their 5th straight home loss to wrap up their season. Sunday statement draft after a crazy Week 18 to wrap up the regular season. Mike Golic, your 3rd selection.
Well, again, another guy showing something at the end of the year. Former U guy came out of the league into the league in 2015. Duke Johnson came out with Cleveland there a few years, Houston a few years. Finishes off, they end up beating New England, 25 carries for 117 yards, played just 5 games this year. Hasn't had the career I'm sure he would have liked to have had, or those teams he's been on would like him to have. But again, you put that last good game on tape, you never know where it takes you to that next year. And this Miami team, I used to talk about Tua when Miami was winning games and him trying to keep that job for next year. But it's good to see a guy, the last game of the season, get a win and running really hard, even though he only played a few games this year.
I want to finish where we started, and as I said at the top of the show, the fact that the Raiders won, the fact that the Chargers aren't going to the playoffs, it's going to obscure what Justin Herbert did last night. What he did last night kind of reinforces the belief that so many have in him, the potential that he has, the future that the Chargers can have if they get the right pieces around him. But for him to do what he did on fourth down, 6 for 6 for 106 yards, 17.6 yards per attempt on fourth down. He had 383 yards last night, 64 attempts. I mean, the passer rating was only 80.4, but still, he was getting banged around all night. He just kept going. He tried to will the Chargers into the postseason, and I feel badly for him. And hopefully this will make that fire burn even more for him, Mike, and make him determined to turn the Chargers into a year in and year out contender.
Well, this is what happened. Remember when he came in the league, there were thoughts, does he really love the game? There were all kind of questions about him. He got his chance to start because Tyrod Taylor got the bad shot and had to miss time. And all of a sudden he's the man and just been lighting the world on fire. But he's just one of, so now we'll go to the offseason in the NFL while we have the playoffs. And after that, we just keep going. It's a year-round business now. They're one of the teams, and we'll start to count those teams afterward that are set at quarterback, and then you figure out what pieces do you need to build to make a championship team, because they have the ability to do that. They have their quarterback for what they hope is the next decade plus, and not many teams can say that right now to have it for that long. They have it. So now what do you do to build around that guy?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.